not gonna lie, there are certain terms these days where it's like, bro, what are you even talking about? But when it comes to business, mainly standing on what you preach, there are some expressions that I can't ignore to just make sense. And standing on business is one of them, especially when it comes to just random fictional characters that I've seen do this countless times again and again. You know, as someone who indulges in the wide variety of media that we have, there are plenty of characters that are just quite literally him or her, you know, I'm not judging. However, if you're someone watching this video and you never heard of the term of standing on business, instead of me just giving you an explanation and yapping for a few minutes on what it means, let me just show you what it represents. I think I speak for a majority of the fans of Berserk when I say Guts practically is almost always standing on what he needs to do. I mean, of course, there are a few moments in the series where he gets caught lacking, but he's sitting at a cool 98 overall, so regardless of the moments we don't really speak about much, Guts handles most of his situations on what he represents. And in short, that's simply just standing on business from the start of the series to where we're at now in the story. Whether it be tearing through 100+ soldiers or getting his hands on wearing that Berserker armor, anytime he gets the chance to just wash away anyone in his path, it's like it's nothing for him. And even through his toughest opponents, Guts always manages to make the audience feel some type of way in some sort of life reflection. So I'll just be sitting here reading and be like, kind of just pulled off the most life-threatening battle of his existence, and then just a few chapters later I'm reflecting on the humanity of his character. Like, when I think of a character that stands on business, I don't ever hesitate to throw Guts into that conversation at all. But okay, for all my TV gurus out there, The Bear has been a show within the last few years that has made a huge impact on my life, and not only because of its amazing cast, script, and setting, but because of how realistic this shit gets in the restaurant scene. I have experience working in a restaurant, and while it may not be as chaotic as it is in The Bear, its presentation of when shit gets real is more accurate than anything I've seen on television before. And the main character, Carmy, is a perfect representation of what his goals are aligned with, and that we're not all perfect. But when it comes to handling business down in The Bear, it gets serious to levels where you're not even in the show, but you can just feel the energy of what it's like to be there working in that environment. And Carmy, yes, while he has his own issues just like all the rest of these characters do, and let's be honest, you as well, this restaurant is all he is working towards, and if you mess that up or get in his way, he'll let it be known that you either need to step aside or lock the fuck in, because if you're not, you're gonna get left behind, and it's that simple. Back to the anime side of things though, but for a character like Ichigo from Bleach, it's almost something to note that regardless if he's late to the event or not, he's gonna handle business either way. Because let's be honest, for some reason, Kubo displays Ichigo in a way where the party quite literally doesn't start until he walks in. It's like, damn, we know he's the MC, Kubo, you don't gotta keep shoving it down our throat. Regardless, Ichigo, when he does touch down, it's almost always something to note that this is where shit's gonna get real if it hasn't already. Because, in no better way to describe him, Ichigo is him. And when he does show up, especially when his theme is cued, just, oh my god, when his theme is cued, you just know it's over for whoever he's going up against. I mean, for a majority, he's almost always in a 1v however many people situation. And even then, people still sleep on his ability to handle business. You know, how are you gonna jump him, still call him sorry, then proceed to still lose the fight? Like, just make it make sense for at least the full episode before dropping to the ground. I mean, hell, he's a substitute Soul Reaper, being able to take care of business in a matter of days when it took the rest of these captains years to master any sort of technique, let alone Bankai. I mean, being the MC is a guarantee for some of these things, but it's been proven time after time again for Ichigo that when he comes through and when he sets his mind to something, especially if it's for those he cares about, he's gonna handle it, and that's a fact. Now, like most of us, we've kind of seen the fall off of the MCU happen across the last few years, and while we get projects that are, well, pretty bad, I'd say every once in a blue moon we'll come across a gem in these projects, and this year has been a roller coaster of emotions for the MCU. We just can't keep a good streak of films or shows. However, within the bunch, Loki Season 2. When I tell you, this show has been one of the best things to come from not only a character arc for Loki, but just in general, one of the best projects from all across the board in the MCU. Spoilers for the show if you weren't already aware, but Loki as a character in specific has done a complete 180. And when I was coming up with the concept for this video, I just wasn't trying to only glaze him, but let's be honest, Loki with him holding not one, not two, but every single living timeline in existence by the end of the show, he may not be standing, but he's definitely sitting on his throne of business that he recreated and reforged for his character to not only become one of, if not the greatest written character in this universe, but to become the god he always said he was. Like, to me personally, there's no better way to say that he practiced what he preached with his glorious purpose. And that's facts. Honestly, I think this one goes without saying, but Luffy, while being the most energetic, laughable, and lovable character that he is, his push for freedom and becoming the king of the pirates is something that he never plays around with. And there are multiple instances that I can't even count at this point where Luffy's interactions with an antagonist is just so upfront. And anytime someone questions his seriousness about becoming the king of the pirates, is when it's like, okay, enough fun and games. Like, I'm not even going to tell you why I'm going to become king of the pirates. I'm just going to show you. And regardless of what that moment is for Luffy, it's just when he gets serious and he means business. And one of my favorite moments within recent times is the walk past the two Yonko in Wano. Because if you've been a fan of the series of One Piece for a while like I have, you would know just how crazy and how much balls you need to have to be able to pull something like that off. Let alone with just one Yonko by means. But knowing Luffy for who he is and what he stands for is what was a no-brainer. That he didn't need to repeat himself in front of them both. Instead, he just walks right past both Kaido and Big Mom to help save his friends and make what of an entrance on the rooftop. So in the case of Luffy though, it was just so obvious to mention him along with the rest of these characters. To keep it simple though, standing on business is to walk the path in which you preach, and what you're making out to be could sometimes clash with someone else's ideals. It's just a matter if you're ready to handle the matters you sought out to do. And sometimes it's just fun to see some of the reactions some of these characters kind of give off when they do eventually get pressed against the wall. But regardless, this was a pretty fun video to make, I'm not gonna lie. I had a lot of fun just talking about some of my favorite moments along with these characters and just this topic. But if you want more like this, make sure to let me know. More soon to come. Just be on the lookout. But with that being said, this has been Augie, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later.